Hey y'all, hey, I'm back. I know it's been a nice little minute. I have felt not very inspired to do videos. That's why you guys haven't really seen me a lot. But I'm here. I thought about doing, the Wrestlemania review night one. I was going to come Saturday night and then, do night two. But night one left me so ridiculously underwhelmed. And then the way that night two yesterday ended pissed me off. I said, you want to know what? Because to be quite honest, I was going to come in full Wrestlemania, like regalia, hair was going to be done. I'm giving y'all exactly what John gave us, which is nothing. So guess what? You gonna get this bonnet. Guess what? You gonna get this, and you wash a t-shirt or whatever. That's what you gonna get. And if you was to see what I have on sweats because you gave us nothing. So what you get in return for this review is nothing. Hunter, and I'm gonna say Hunter's name a lot, okay? Because you at the helm of this shit. So a lot of my issues is with you. So before we kind of break down everything that happened, situation, all of the matches and stuff, let's talk about overall, right? So for me, if you've been watching my channel, now for like a little bit, I've kind of been on this journey with wrestling. So I started watching wrestling again actively since last year's WrestleMania. Like, at the end of night one is like when I first came in and I kind of saw the hoopla and stuff. It was in Philly. I saw, a lot of things that interested me. I jumped in. So ever since WrestleMania 40, I have been paying attention. I have learned not everything I need to learn, but I've learned a lot. To be honest, I've mostly been watching Raw, not SmackDown, but I have watched all of the PLEs in the last year and everything. So I was really excited about this WrestleMania because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the first WrestleMania. And like, mind you, prior to, like I said, me watching it this past year, I ain't watched fucking wrestling since like 07, 08. It's been a long time. So I was really excited. I'm like, you know what? This is cool. I can finally, I can watch WrestleMania this year and actually know what the hell is going on. So I was really, really, really excited. I would like to say that as somebody who has come back, and I've seen that I wasn't the first person that said that. I've seen other people say this is their first time back in a year or maybe 2 years and deep watching. It was so anticlimactic. Like, I feel like I watched wrestling for a whole year for nothing. Like, kind of, sort of. That's how I feel. I thought that WrestleMania was the buildup of a whole year's worth of stuff. And I feel like a lot of that shit did not pay off. I'm trying to understand what the hell did I even consume over the last year that got us to where we are. Now, one thing I will say about the WWE is it is a difficult show in the sense of they don't have reruns. They don't have time to really they gotta kind of pivot on the fly because every single week it's a new episode and they do 2 to 3 because they do Raw, SmackDown, NXT. So it's just a constant moving ball. So I try to give grace from that perspective, but at the same time, this was just horribly done. I understand, and we'll get to the whole John Cena thing. I'll get to me how that's like a whole double-edged sword situation. But overall, night one was so bad. I'm going to give night one a C. And the only reason that they got a C is because of the main event that happened. And I'm going to give night two a C for the same reason except the opposite. Like, when people are saying online that night one the undercards was bad but the main event was good, and then in night two the undercards were good but the main event was bad, they're right. If you would have took the CM Punk Seth and Roman and put that, swapped Cody in the mount and put that there and just left night two alone as just one standalone WrestleMania, I would have been pretty okay. That would have been okay to me. But I feel like I've seen PLEs that's been better than this one. What was the last one before this? I can't remember, but there was one recently, one of the last PLEs that they had, which I think was overseas or whatever, that was better than this to me. I'm not under. So overall, I'm going to give the overall WrestleMania 40 a C. A C. I give you a C plus to be cute. But that's really it. So let's kind of get into the different matches, some of my notes and stuff. You know, I tweeted throughout, so I'm going to be kind of looking at some of my tweets. Okay. All right. Now, I didn't watch the pre-show, so I came in literally exactly like 5 minutes before it started, right? Why? Okay. This is my theory. I could be so wrong, but I feel like because last year was so nigga heavy, like it was in Philly, like you had Coco Jones doing the national anthem. It was so black y'all and we black y'all and we bliggity blue. Like it was so black. And mostly because I think because it was in Philly, that I feel like they felt like this year they wanted to go the complete opposite and go MAGA. Because to me, this was very MAGA heavy. And a lot of other things too. Why is Dana White being the person to narrate this shit? We don't want to hear from him. He don't know how to keep his hands to himself. We know Shane wanted to buy the UFC, so I think that's even a little bit of a slap in the face, even though I know they got a little bit of a relationship. I don't care. Why was he needed? Oh, because it's in Vegas. I don't care. I do not care. I did not want to hear his voice. It was enough nonsense that you had on. Pause. Hold on. Let's stop for a second. Let me talk about what I think kind of took a little bit of the steam. Now, I'm surprised it didn't take as much steam, but if y'all don't know, maybe like a couple of days, like either the day before WrestleMania, it came out pretty much that Roman Reigns said that he pretty much was like a Trump supporter and like, oh, he's just a smart man. He gave this long ass quote pretty much about how he's a Trump supporter, and it just threw everybody in their mama off. Now, some people are like, he's from like he lives in South Florida. Now, if I would have knew that, then I would know better. But it's just like, what? So that had everybody up in arms because that was super confusing to everybody involved. Even people that don't watch wrestling, I saw like talking about that. So I'm like, ooh, that's not the best thing to walk into WrestleMania with. But fine. So we got the whole Roman Reigns situation, right? Trump supporter. Then you got Dana White doing this. Then you got Jelly Roll. What are you trying to say, Hunter? Like, did Linda handpick everything? Did Linda handpick stuff for Trump? Is that what happened? Because that's what it feels like. It felt like they went. It felt like they feel like they went so urban last year that they had to go to complete opposite this year. Bullshit. It fell flat as far as I'm concerned. So we got to hear Dana White run his mouth or whatever about being in Vegas now. I've been thinking about this for the last couple of weeks about WrestleMania being in Vegas. I think that the thinking of that is like, okay, we're in a Netflix era, right? And as I said before, I think they are trying to lean more into like more adult like type content, maybe not so much like PG era anymore. So I think their thinking was like, if we put it in Sin City, which is like the adults playground, that's kind of giving more of a like, we are not just, we're really like done with the PG era. We're really leaning into some grown ass shit because, I mean, yeah, you can bring, I guess, kids to Vegas, but it's Sin City is supposed to be a playground for adults, right? So I understand like the thinking of that, but at the same time, it's like, let's talk about the pricing, right? We're going to get into everything. I'm sorry. We got to cover it all. The way that this economy is set up right now and how much those tickets were, ridiculous. And I feel like we're going to get into the crowd too, right? Because this crowd sucked. Like, to be fair, they wasn't given a lot to work with, to be very honest. But I feel like the crowd was really, really like weak. I feel like a lot of the reason why the crowd was weak is possibly because, now I'm not saying everybody that was there. I'm not saying everybody. But I think a good majority of those people, like Logan Paul at one point when he was like doing his entrance or whatever, had walked up and showed people sitting on stage. He was like, they rich. Yeah, you gotta be super, super, like, for some of those spots, you got to have money. And think about it like this. Like for me, right? Vegas is one of me and my boyfriend's favorite spots. Hotel and flight alone is going to be $5,000. Like, I know off top when I go to Vegas, at least $5,000 is just for flights and hotels. Just to get there and to have somewhere to sleep is going to be about $5,000, at least for the way that we like to travel. And So think about that. So there's $5,000, and let's just say you go on the low end or whatever. But let's say it's you and one other person. But let's stick with 5,000. 5,000 for just hotel and flight. Then you got to think about the actual tickets. The tickets were definitely thousands of dollars. The front row, the little front section was like $10,000 a pop. So let's just say you ain't right there, but you a little bit far back. You definitely paying at least maybe another 5 stacks. So if it's you and one other person, that's $10,000 that you're paying for 2 tickets, plus another $5,000 you're paying for flight and hotel. That's $15,000 already. And you didn't eat anything yet. You didn't buy memorabilia, and you're already at almost $15,000. So yes, I understand from a marketing perspective, yes, let's put it in Sin City so that we can show that we're more adult. Come on, let's have fun on that level. But at the same time, I feel like you didn't get your hardcore fans, because I don't think the average hardcore fan could afford that. I think a lot of, from what I was seeing, especially in the front and on the sides, a lot of it gave, bitch, my kid wanted to come and I got a lot of money. Or I just know that this might be the place to be, right now, because there's some shit going on in Vegas. But it didn't give, in my opinion, I think that the U.S. don't deserve anything nice right now. I think that we should take all PLE events and move them overseas. Because let me tell you something. Let that would have been like Paris. Let that would have been anywhere that they just left. You think that the crowd would have been as shitty as this crowd was? The U.S. don't deserve, I keep telling y'all, the U.S. don't deserve nothing nice. We don't deserve nothing nice. Hunter, take the PLEs and get the fuck out of America. I'm tired. The crowd was pissing me the hell off. Anyway. So, like I said, Dana White comes in, does his little speech or whatever. Then we have Hunter in the middle, like he normally do, play his little thing, welcome to WrestleMania, blah, 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 blah. So, I thought it was smart that we started out with Jay versus Gunther, because we want that we need that moment. And if you want to start off, I think it was smart for them to try to do that, because you want to start off high energy. However, Jay is not in that mode. He's in serious mode. He's not in, let me be yeeting. And to be quite honest, it's not that people were not participating in the yeeting and whatever. It was just visually, I've seen better. I think, what was it, Backlash? Was it Backlash in Paris or whatever that he did? Whichever one that was, fire. That's, I think, is what they were hoping and expecting. But to be in WrestleMania, I also think, this is just my opinion, I also think the fact that it was daytime when he started wasn't really the best visual. I think if it was dark outside, similar to like I said, I think it was Backlash Paris that he did, but whichever one that he did, which is when all of the lights is out and the whole crowd is just rocking, I think that would have hit a lot better if they would have did that in the nighttime, because then you would have been able to see, the visual would have been better with lights bouncing up and down versus like paley pasty ass white people arms. And on top of that, y'all know white people be having a hard time staying on beat with each other, so a lot of them was off beat with the eating, so they didn't really get, I feel the visual probably that they really wanted to. I also felt the crowd was again, but this is not just for Drake, I think across the board the crowd's energy just wasn't where it was. It just, I don't know, was everybody too hot up? Was everybody too did everybody go to the bartender before they went? I don't know, but I didn't like it. Anyway, Jay comes out, Gunther comes out, regular, whatever. I thought that the match was cool. People didn't like the fact, and I'm gonna be honest, this threw me off too, the fact that when Jay put Gunther into the submission hold or whatever, how fast he tapped out. That did shock me. It's not the fact that he tapped out. I'm going to be real. It is how fast, because it was the minute that he did it, it was not even a couple seconds. And then normally they put them in a hold and it's and then they at least act like they're about to tap out and then they do it. No, he did it immediately, which I didn't understand that, but it's cool. It's whatever. Now, my mind is twisted. When Jimmy came out there, right, to celebrate with Jay, I really thought that Jimmy was going to turn on Jay. I thought he was going like pretty much pull like a Paul Heyman on that ass, but he didn't. That's good. I think I am interested in seeing where Jay's story goes now that he has the belt. I do think that a very interesting storyline, I don't know if they will ever do it, but I do think an interesting storyline similar to the Bloodline would be Jay versus Jimmy. I think that has to happen. Like, Jay versus Jimmy has to be a thing that happens. I don't know how we're going to get there, but like, just let them have some disagreement. But I believe I can see Jimmy and Jay headline, like being, maybe not headlining, but being like an event at WrestleMania if they build it up the correct way. So that's where I think they should go next with Jay. But I'm just happy that he won. I told y'all when I first started watching last year, the people that was my favorite was Jey Uso, Samantha Irvin. Oh, she left, but it's fine. And Seth Rollins. Those are my three favorite people, period, of this like new little iteration, new generation, whatever it is we want to call it. Those are my three favorites. So very happy that Jay won. Yay, Jay. New Day. New Day and whoever the hell it is that they went against. You know, I took that time. Y'all might not care. I don't care. I took that time to go in a room to my man. And you know what I'm saying? That's how bored I was. That's how bored that I was off top. Off top, I was so bored. I said, let me take my ass in the room and go mess with him for a little bit, because I'd rather do that than to sit here and watch this. I already told y'all how I feel about New Day. I think that New Day is corny. I think New Day, neither one of them are like the best actors or selling as far as wrestling, like wrestlers is concerned. I do think that they're more convincing as heels than they are baby faces, but it doesn't feel, okay, it feels like they turned heel, right? That was a big thing for like a week or two, and then it feels like they didn't do anything with this. And that's my problem, Hunter. It feels like a lot of your work is just undone. It's like y'all have a good like surprise or a good idea, but y'all don't ever flesh it all the way out. That's my thing with a lot of these storylines. And a lot of the things over the last year has been things like, what the hell happened to New Day? What did happen to Damian Priest once the whole Judgment Day was over? It feels like Damian Priest got pretty much like swept under the rug. Because if I think about it, when I first started watching wrestling at the top of last year around this time, Damian Priest was somebody I always saw. Versus like, once we get to the Royal Rumble, I forgot Damian Priest even fucking existed. Like, y'all, again, Hunter, y'all have all these like good, shocking moments or ideas, but y'all don't flesh them out. So with New Day, okay, they turned heel, but now what? That's how it feels with all of them. Everybody turned this way, and now what? You can't just make somebody a bad guy and then not have it make sense, or have them just fight people that we don't care about. That was some shit that New Day and whoever they went against, that match should have been left for SmackDown or some shit. Not WrestleMania. That was not a WrestleMania worth of it, unless y'all used this specifically for people to go to the bathroom. Because that's what happened. They didn't even get no pop, no nothing. When they come out like normally on a weekly like show, it's like New Day sucks. They didn't even get that. They got nothing. They got nothing when they came out. They got nothing when they won. Waste of time. You hear me? Waste of time. Good gracious. Then we have Jade versus Naomi. Now, you know, black women's. I love black women's. And, okay, this is what I feel like over the last year. I feel like when I first started at the top, like I said, around this time last year, yes, Jade and Bianca, they were those girls or whatever. But I felt like I didn't really know much about Jade, like, and her personality. And then once it started to heat up with Jade, Jade got taken out. Naomi comes in or whatever. Okay, Naomi's cute. But when Jade came back and beat Naomi's ass for the fucking Royal Rumble, I said, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So I feel like we did get a lot of talk from Naomi. I wish we would have got more mic time from Jade, but I understand because Jade wasn't about to talk and Jade was whooping ass, point blank period. I will say that Naomi looked great. The titties, like I put on Twitter, the titties were tittying. Naomi, they were tittying. They were about to pop out. I don't know how she did that whole match and her titties did not pop out because they were like, boom, 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 they were bouncing. Jade, I've seen Jade look better. I tell y'all, I'm always like, not critical, but when they get it right with Jade, they get it right. Like like I said, for the Royal Rumble, when she came out, oh my God, she looked so fucking good. I did not like this outfit. I didn't really like the makeup. I didn't like the hair. They played for WrestleMania, but it's cool. She still came out. I thought that the match was cool. It was much better than the New Day one. And I felt like it was like kind of on par with Jay and Gunther. So Jade ends up winning as she should have. Naomi, you tried. The next match was Jacob Fatu and LA Knight. Now, I've heard LA Knight name a lot recently in the last couple of months, but I didn't really hear of him when I first started watching wrestling again. Jacob Fatu to me has stood out since the minute I saw him on the screen. I've always looked at him like, why is this not the guy that they're pushing? Clearly, to me personally, I feel like he has the, like, I don't say personality, but like, I think he has everything that you need. He's a great wrestler. He has the attitude. He has the aura. He has the, I don't know about the mic work just yet, but everything about him to me seems great. And like I said, more importantly, he's a really, 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 really good wrestler. I think maybe I feel like this was kind of a test a little bit to see, like, let's really put him out there on the main stage and see what people feel. And people really, really, really like Jacob Fatu. I think that they should push him a little bit more. He's obviously, I think, more of a heel, but I think he's a heel that people can like really like learn to love. I thought that the match was really, really good between him and LA Knight. I was surprised because I was only really looking forward to the match because of Jacob, but LA Knight did a great job. I feel like out of all of the undercards, I want to say this was probably the best one. But again, Jacob Fatu is a great wrestler, and Jacob won. So that was that on that. And that was for the United States title, so he at least has a title now, so good for him. Then we had El Grande Americano versus Rey Fenix. Now, it was supposed to be Rey Mysterio, and this was one of the only ones I cared about too, because Rey Mysterio is a walking legend, walking icon. But once they said that he wasn't in it, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't pay attention. I didn't care. I think they said Rey won. Let's move on. Then we have Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. Now, as y'all know, Tiffany and Charlotte do not see it for each other. Now, a couple weeks ago, right, when they did the one where it was a split screen, baby, the way Charlotte ate Tiffany up. Like, I know that people are going off about like what happened like a couple weeks ago with the off-script situation, but no. Go back and watch that promo with Tiffany and Charlotte with the split screen. Charlotte ate Tiffany. Tiffany looked so like such a amateur, like her mic work compared to her. Charlotte was eating that little girl up. But once she got in front of a crowd, it felt like when Charlotte got in front of a crowd, she kind of lost all of that like that confidence. So Tiffany kind of got the best out of her, and then we know that they allegedly went off script. None of that shit was supposed to be said. These bitches really don't like each other, so they got into the match. I thought the match was okay. I was hoping it would be, I wish they would have did like a street fight for them the way they did Damian Priest. Y'all let me know, has there ever been a woman street fight? Please let me know in the comments if there has been. I think that would have been a great like one to do a street fight for, because the bitches really don't like each other. But Tiffany ends up winning. I'm sorry, I know y'all don't like Charlotte. I like Charlotte. I just think she's everything. I think she's that bitch. I think who she thinks she is, she actually is. You know, some people be like, oh, I'm this and I'm that, but they really not. No, she is who she thinks she is. And I think a lot of times people, I do understand that she doesn't necessarily get along with a lot of the girls in the back, but I do think that sometimes both her and the fans sometimes get confused, like who she really is versus like her persona, because I just saw her, I think like, what was it, on Jimmy Fallon or something like that, and it was a great interview, like very wonderful person, seems like a nice woman, seems nice enough. Her daddy is Ric Flair, like come on. But Tiffany won. I think Tiffany is alright. I feel like Tiffany is just a flippin' version of Liv, if you want me to be honest. I feel like Liv and Tiffany, like the character ain't that off. I just think that Liv like delivers her character much better. I think Liv plays the cute, underhanded, smart, a little mean, a little Regina Georgia. She plays that to me much better and in a fun, lighter, I like her type of way than Tiffany does. I don't even know how to explain that, but whatever. Tiffany won. It is what it is. Good for her. And then the last match of the night, we have Seth Rollins, who comes out first. Whoa, whoa, burn it down. I'm so excited because I got my 1-year-old doing the whoa now. Very excited. I told y'all, Seth is my favorite. Next to Jay, Seth Rollins is my favorite. And I don't... Okay, maybe because I've only been watching 1 year versus everybody else who's been watching for years, but I keep seeing people criticize Seth for like, oh, he's just a gimmick because of the way he dresses and because of the Whoa song. But that's, yes, those are reasons why I like him, obviously, as well. But I think that his mic work is amazing. I think he's a really good wrestler. I think he gives his all into everything that he does. But I think like the clothes in the song to me are just the cherry on top. They're not like the actual ice cream. They're just like the whipped cream and the cherry. It just it's what puts it over. But I love Seth. Seth comes out. It goes completely dark. I thought my damn feed went out, and then he pops back up and he's in all white. Kind of. I ain't even trying to be funny. I think he did this on purpose because it was Easter, but it was given like Christ-like type of things. But anyway, killed it. Looked amazing. Then we had Roman Reigns come out. I wasn't excited. Man, that news, it really just hit me in my heart. But it's cool. Still OTC, still OTC. So OTC comes out. Was pretty kind of sad because like he didn't have nobody with him. Paul Heyman wasn't with him. His people, his bloodline ain't with him. He ain't even had nobody to give the what is that? The Ula Fala to? Is that what it's called? Yeah, he ain't have nobody to give it to. It was really, really sad. But I liked his entrance. It was real plain. I liked the fact that they had the little screens coming down behind him with like his bloodline. I thought that was really cool. Comes in cool. Then before CM Punk comes out, they do this whole little package, showing him when he was younger to now, all his different matches. And this is CM Punk's first WrestleMania, I think, as like the main event or whatever. So comes out with Paul Heyman behind him. We do Cult of Personality. Shout out! I did not know that was a black man that sung that song. Shout out to him. Comes out or whatever, does whatever. The match starts. I thought that this match was amazing. Let me say it again. I thought that this match was amazing. I thought the pacing was really, really good because one of my biggest problems sometimes with wrestling is the pacing. Sometimes I feel like the pacing, depending on who's doing it, can be a little bit too slow. I felt like the pacing of this was great. I felt like it had points, it built up correctly. I feel like when it hit its crescendo, like them going into the crowd, fucking Roman jumping the way that he did and clearing that whole barrier, crazy. That was really good. That was good. A lot of good crowd work. Then they come into, I felt like all of the back-to-back moves were so fire. They did it at least like 3 times, and each time it was good. Like, so fucking CM Punk will have what's the name on his shoulders, but then before he could do that, somebody comes and spears him, and then after that person lands, then here comes Seth jumping on the head. Like, they did that at least 3-4 times. Great. Now, the turn at the very end. Now, when Roman was over here and Punk was over here. Oh no, when Punk was over here and Roman was over here and Paul Heyman went to go grab that chair, I initially thought he was going to slide it in the middle because it was in the middle. I thought he was going to slide it in the middle and just have like either one of them pick or Seth was going to come and pick it up. But once he gave it to, I think he gave it to Punk first, right? And then he turned on Punk, gave it to Roman. And then once he gave it to Roman, I said, oh no. I know what's about to happen here. Now, shout out to Bully Ray from the Busted Open podcast because I watched him. He said this months ago. That's a smart man and him being in his business. But months ago, he said the only way that this makes sense, because everybody kept talking about why is Seth here? Like, Seth ain't really needed. He's coming off like third wheel. He's not really needed for this beef between Roman and Punk because the favor is that Punk wants Heyman. What the hell I got to do with you, Seth? So Bully Ray said the only way that this makes sense is if Heyman goes to Seth. That makes sense. And once he like gave it to Roman, I said, oh, it's up and it's stuck. So I wasn't even that surprised when he turned on Roman. Crazy. So pretty much he turns on Roman, gives Seth the chair. Seth bashes what's the name over the back with it. And that's just kind of that. Like, Seth and Paul Heyman are now a thing. That's gonna be different. I'm really interested in seeing how that goes. I think it's great though because, you know, Punk with Heyman obviously was able to get to his heights. Roman with Heyman was able to get to certain heights. I really feel like Seth is just, he's missing one itty bitty thing to take him over the top. Maybe Paul can help him with that. But I thought it was great. 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 Loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. I'm probably going to do this actually into 2 different things. So that's the end of night 1. I felt like I said, I felt like the undercards were not that great. I thought the main event was amazing. And that's really it. But y'all tell me what y'all think about night 1, and I'll be back to do night 2 later. Bye.